You may be thinking about hiring a matchmaker since you haven't had much luck with dating. Perhaps you have a strong desire to commit to a long-term relationship. In today's episode of True Love Knots, Maria Romano will talk about things you need to consider before hiring a matchmaker. She'll also tell you about the services that a matchmaker can provide for you. Tune in and learn more.
Hi, everybody. Maria Romano here from True Love Knots. How's your Labor Day going? Well, I'm checking in with all of my single friends out there. So I was reading an article, somebody sent it to me, about hiring a matchmaker. So are you thinking maybe you just haven't had any luck in the dating world and you're just not too sure which way to turn? And I know that you might be, maybe you're being approached by a matchmaker. So let's have a conversation about that. I'm going to share with you some information regarding the matchmaking services, and then you can make your own decision because let's face it, right? You make up your own mind, especially when it comes to dating. Now, matchmaking services has been around forever, right? Forever. There people have been matchmakers, and now it's a business, right? And matchmaking services are not inexpensive. It's certainly not like online dating, right? I mean, online dating, there's free online dating apps, and there are dating apps, of course, that charge you a monthly service, but nobody is outrageous. However, there's times in our life that, some of us we are just ready to find somebody and we will do anything. And that's where some people will use a matchmaking service. So I want to share with you some information about matchmaking services. And again, I'm going to give you some valuable information. So please listen to this to the very end. Now, I want you to know I have used matchmaking services. And I'm not discrediting anybody. I'm not going to mention whose names or companies I've used, but I can tell you something. A matchmaking service is not an inexpensive deal. It's an investment because a good matchmaking service, quote good, whatever that means, will probably cost you in excess of about $10,000, $12,000. Oh, I know. And then you have other matchmaking services where it could be $4,000, right? You've heard of maybe It's Just Lunch. That's another one. I remember speaking to them, and I think it was about $3,500, maybe $4,000. They guaranteed you just three matches. It's pretty damn expensive. So, a couple of things. Before you decide to invest that kind of money, and it's a lot of money, okay, and for somebody to help you find someone, you need to make sure you've got your act together, because I don't care how much money you spend, and I mean that. You need to make sure that you're ready for a relationship, that you took care of any of the past residuals that happened in any of your previous relationships. I wrote a book, Going from Just One to a Plus One, and there is a chapter in there that talks about dysfunctional detoxing. And that's a phrase that I've coined. And the reason for that is you need to make sure that you have been healing and you're healed from the past wounds, the emotional wounds from your past relationship. And there are four things that I talk about when it comes to that. You need to look at what attracted you to the person that made you fall most in love with him or her. Okay. And then are those same qualities, or when you think about the relationship, the qualities that you like, did they actually turn into qualities that you loathe, right? Habits that you loathe. And then the other area is four quadrants. So it's what you liked about that person, what you didn't like after, the relationship matured. Maybe you jumped into it a little too quickly. This is what I always tell clients. Don't jump from the frying pan into the fire. Take your time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and your mom waited 9 months for you. Remember that. Anyway, and then the third thing is looking at the relationship and thinking, what could I have done differently? Okay. What could I have done differently? And the fourth thing is, how much did I contribute to the demise of the relationship? So those are the four things you need to look at. I should say, really, how much did you, how instrumental you are, instrumental you were in maybe causing the demise of the relationship, not caring, trying to resolve the issue. And then the last thing is looking back at that and saying, what can I have done differently? And the reason I say that is before you go spend any kind of money with any matchmaker, and before you get on a dating site, is you need to have those four questions answered and really answer them honestly and feel that you're not carrying those residuals. Because if you're the type of person that you are attracting somebody that that seems to, maybe they're dependent on alcohol, drugs, or maybe they need to be taken care of and they don't work, and you seem to be the type of person that you love nurturing and taking care of somebody, but that turns out to be an issue later on, right? So you need to really think about if you are over your past relationship and that you're not attracting the same type of individual, especially if you've done that multiple times in the past. Because no matter what money you spend, no matter what type of service you buy into when it comes to matchmaking, you're not going to be ready. So the first rule of thumb is make sure you're ready to date. The second thing is make sure you do your homework. Check out the different matchmaking services. Now, there might be a matchmaking service locally in your area. There are large ones nationwide. It just depends upon you and if you want to date somebody out of state, it could be from what West Coast to East Coast. You need to ask yourself those questions. And when you're speaking to a matchmaking service, how many matches do they currently have that's in your area and in your age range and what you're looking for? Because I'm going to let you in on a little secret. When I was on the dating sites and then I hired a matchmaker, I hired a couple of them. I'm still single. I noticed that the matches they came up with were some of the guys that I saw on the dating sites. So how do you think matchmaking companies get some of their clients? They poach them. They poach them from dating sites. That's right. Not all of them, but a fair amount. Because I want to let you in on a little secret. There's usually more women that are clients, and matchmaking services need to find more men. And that's how they solicit them. I even used a matchmaking service that went back into their database and contacted someone, as a matter of fact, two people that they matched me up with that were in their database for over 10 years. They called them and said, listen, she could be a potential match, she might not. And meanwhile, they haven't been using their services, but they're still single. Does that give you an indication? Does that give you an indication, my friends, right? So matchmaking services, some of them might be great, but you want to make sure they have a pool of people, because when you sign a contract, don't think when they say to you, we're going to send you 3 matches, that you're going to get 3 matches right away. No. They take about 5 to 6 weeks before they'll send you a match. And sometimes they're just going to send you a match that really isn't a match because they have to send you a match because that's what the contract says. So really do your homework. I mean, if you really want to spend that kind of money and you want somebody to find your match for you, that's up to you. But remember, you're the person that is going to be living with or with somebody. So you're the person that should definitely be involved when making a decision in finding a match. And I'm not saying, that you shouldn't use a matchmaking service. If you have the money and that's the way you want to go and you're over your past relationship and you've exhausted other avenues, that's great, go for it. But make sure you read the fine print. Make sure you read the fine, because a matchmaking service does not guarantee that you're going to be matched. So I hope this answered your questions today, my friends. And remember, if you have any questions about dating, or if you want to try to level up your skills with your dating life, online, offline, just go to my website, True Love Knots, KNOTS, and everything will be in the show notes. Because, remember, I want to see you find a person that you enjoy getting up in the morning every day. I want to see you find a person in your life that you can't wait to get home to them at night or at the end of the day. I want to see you find somebody in your life that when you're sitting down with them and you're just looking at each other, that you're very content. Because you know what? I want to see you go from being a just one to a plus one. So have a great, great day until next week, my friends. And remember, continue to stay healthy, stay safe, and always, always spread love.